out there. Hopefully you're hearing me and you're hearing stereo audio. I've been working for a half an hour to try to get stereo audio working here on this live composing podcast. Let's see if it's working. Hello, YouTube. Would you just let me hear something, please? Let's see what's happening. Oh, there it is. And let's see if it sounds like it's in stereo. For half an hour to try. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Hey, if you're here today, I am finally here. I told my email list I would be here at 10, and it's 10:30. Eric is late. That's odd. No, it's not. It's not odd at all because I usually am late. So let's just be honest here. Should be on both channels today on Make Music Income and on Hello Composers. Let's just take a look and see. Yes, I see me on there now. So today what I'm going to be trying to do is to work on a, let's see. Hello Composers. Don't need you. Got it. I'm going to be trying to work on some what I call Hallowmas stuff. It's stuff that I do for from Halloween, from October through December. It's music that is Christmas songs that are actually kind of done in a dark way, like Halloween songs, and so I call it Hallowmas. And hello, ISO, how you doing? Good to see you. So yeah, that's the whole point of this live, is to compose a little bit of this song. And today's song is going to be a Christmas tune that I am going to take and, I don't know, make sound Halloweeny. So we have Hallowmas, Christmas and Halloween mixed. For some reason I got on this organ. Okay, now I have to remind myself what song I was wanting to do in the first place today. So far I've done 3 new Hallowmas tunes this year, or 2 new Hallowmas tunes, and I need to look at my notes and see what I wanted to do. I am a very meticulous note keeper. I keep a list of just about everything in my notes program. Okay, so Wreck the Halls is what we're doing today, and the goal was this. So Wreck the Halls is, or Deck the Halls. So that is Deck the Halls, but what I'm going to do is something I have in my head called Wreck the Halls. And I keep hearing little beeps, and I guess that's you guys. And it's a little different than most of my stuff. Yes, oh really, Halloween, Christmas, it is true. Yes, yesterday might have been the end of Halloween, but it's just the beginning of Hallowmas, which is something I kind of just do. I don't know, it's weird. So glad to have you guys here today joining me. Arco, good to see you. Oh really, and Art, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I'm going to try to create from scratch. As you can see here on the Logic session, I only have 2 tracks. This is how I start all tracks, not with Baroque organ, but usually I will start it with an audio instrument or an instrument track and an audio track. That's my template. Welcome to it. I actually have Ozone 10 always loaded up as kind of just a default setting of Ozone to just kind of keep a limiter on there. I always have a lot of times some different buses already loaded in, a small verb and a large verb. That's my template. Unless I probably should put together an orchestral template, but even then, I don't use the whole orchestra And so putting together an orchestral template to me just doesn't make sense. And it locks me into a sound like anybody else would do with the same template. So I don't use templates. So um, I'm weird like that. Um, O'Reilly says, I wish I could do like Memphis, write 10 songs. I don't know what that means before lunch. Um, have songwriting sessions. Well, you could. Oh, like the Memphis songwriters. Gotcha. Well, you could, I guess, write 10 songs. 10 songs before lunch. I mean, I could sit down to the piano and write out 10 ideas, sure. But the whole reason the whole reason behind everything that I do in composing is composing things that I want to compose. And I know that sounds weird, but it's just what I think. And it's not very popular. And I know that other people think that you should be composing for the client. But dudes, I have been doing composing for clients for many, many years, and I don't really want to do that anymore, even though hopefully sometimes these will be used by clients, but hopefully in ways that I can kind of control a little bit. All right, Arco, get on with your drum practice. I will play the piano. Yeah, right. Right now, I kind of dialed up organ for no apparent reason, and sorry, it took me a little while to get on today. I wanted you guys to be able to hear stereo. You should be hearing stereo today if you have headphones on. So here's what I'm going to be trying to do with Deck the Halls, or Wreck the Halls, as I'm calling it for Hallowmas. I'm going to be playing but I'm going to be doing it in the minor key. This is one of the easiest ways, I think, to turn a song around, to rearrange a song. And so what I'm going to be trying to do is already it sounds Halloweeny. Now, I didn't mean to bring up organ because my first thought was timpani. And so if I'm going to be doing timpani, I'll go ahead and add that in and bring up some timpani. But before I can even add in this timpani, and if you're wondering why I'm choosing all Logic sounds right now, it's just because I prefer to sketch in Logic. And Logic has a great sound set. And so I just think it's more fun to sketch there. And I can quickly and easily, I don't have to be going searching for sounds. I just know where they're going to be. So now, before I pick a key though, if I'm starting this, I need to be thinking, am I going to go, I kind of like this organ sound for this song. But I also know that I had in my notes to bring up some strings and brass, and I also will want to, do some orchestral things. So I need to think about what I might put on there, and then that might, because every instrument that I might pick, I don't know about you when you're composing, but I kind of think it out in my head. I don't just randomly start picking sounds. I used to back in the day, but now I compose a lot more in my head before I even start playing notes. So I know this may be boring to watch, but this is my process. I hear flutes for some reason in my head, and now if I'm just going to have organ control the whole thing, then it's not going to matter. If I use organ and I use timpani and I use snare drum and but I really want to wreck the halls. I'm thinking that there's going to be some kind of beat in this hip hop type beat in this tune as well. So if that's the case, it's not really going to matter what key I start in, but I mean, I would kind of default probably to C minor. That puts the clarinets right in that area. Horns, ooh, horns. Bump. Okay, we'll stay in C minor. So that's what we'll do. And we'll go to C minor and see how that works out. Um, O'Reilly says lyrics come to, I don't know why. Lyrics always come to me first. I don't know. Yeah, well, that's fine. And this is I'm doing instrumental, so I'm not even thinking down the lyrics road. So for me, this is not about a lyrics thing. This is about a, um, this is about a instrumental cue type thing. I could see this being used in a TV show during Halloween season or something like that. So I'm not really that concerned about any lyrics. We're thinking only instrumental here because there isn't going to be any lyrics. And yeah, sure, I could do wreck the holes with balls. That was just, I don't want to be that corny with it. I just want to be very orchestral with it. So I think I'm going to pick a tempo, and let's see where we are with 120. 120 is a little fast. I think I'm going to see what 116 is. Still fast. Still fast. Let's go down to 110. You might be saying, why aren't you just tapping tempo? Because I don't know. And I got to figure out my melody. But I've kind of been singing this in my head for like a year, since last year when I was doing these kind of tunes. And I had this in my head. So what I might do here is just go ahead and fill out an organ melody and then start to build around that. And if I can get the melody down, then I can see time-wise how I'm doing. As usual, I want to stay 2 to 2.5 minutes or so on this tune. So let's go ahead and record a little melody. Oops. There we go. We want to do something like that. Let's find out where that was. Right around 8 or 6. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can I go up one minor and come down another? Oops, start on E flat. Let's put a little thing on here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. After I get done with this melody, you'll see the method to my madness here. One more time here. Dun 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 dun. That'll be the first part. It's about 30 seconds long. So yeah, so that's pretty much the melody. Let's listen to that. Dun, da, 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 da. I might have to choose 16 triplets. Maybe not. 16 and 8 triplets? Maybe I just played it bad. Dun, da, da, da. Played that. I think I just played that bad here at the end. Yeah, just. So that's kind of the melody of this thing, and it's going to come and go throughout this piece. I'll probably do an A section and a B section, and even this probably won't start right away. So I would probably start with some kind of intro here. So I've got the A section, and then I'm going to go into the B section. Let's see who's in the chat here. Arco says, what name did you say, though? I don't know what you mean by what name did I say, though. I'm in the way of my, I can't see this. Orchestral, going to start my day. Enjoy the stream, everyone. Thanks for being here. Oh, really? Don the second, already Christmas time. Absolutely. Dude, it was Christmas time 6 months ago, if you want to start on cues. And these have been used for Christmas. I have one song called Jingle Skells, called March of the Skeletons, which Stevie B played on his stream yesterday. And that song has already been pitched many, many times by Crucial Music, and it's already been used over and over on many of my libraries. And so it's kind of a jingle bells, minor jingle bells thing, jingle bells in the minor key. Morning, Shane. Shane is in the house. Good to see you. Good for being here. See, I'm in Hollywood. Very excited to hear your music. I listen to your videos normally, but this is the first. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to do a little Wednesday thing here because mornings are my writing time, arranging time, orchestrating time. And so I thought on Wednesdays what I would do is show you guys a little behind the curtain of what I do. You probably just think I sit around and make videos about income all the time, but really the only reason I do that is because I do this. And so I think it's just important to have this kind of going on so you can see what is happening. And today, if you're just tuning in, we are working on something. Let's go ahead and name it so everyone can see. It already has a name. It's called Wreck the Halls. And I'm going to put it with my other Halloween tunes. I have an album called Hallowmas. It's actually, there's a seven song album up on Spotify called Hallowmas under, I can't remember if it's under my name, John Eric Copeland, or if you just type in Hallowmas, it's the only album on Spotify called Hallowmas. But this is going to be called Wreck the Halls, if I can spell correctly. I did go to school in Kentucky. All right, Hallowmas, Wreck the Halls. We are on our way. I already have a melody. And yes. Well, glad you love it. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make some kind of intro, and I know I'm using timpani. If you're wondering what sounds I'm using right now, it's just Logic. I like to do my sketching in Logic. It just makes it easier. They have all the sounds I need. I could use a little bit better woodwinds, but for the most part, you get everything you need, especially string and string articulations, and fine horns, decent trombones, decent everything, really. Decent timpani, decent everything. Now, I will then go back later and add in other kinds of instruments, other orchestral pieces from different things. But many times, I'm still staying 75% Logic sounds, and it's a little secret, really. that Logic has just some really decent sounds built into it if you're using Logic as your main DAW. But by no means am I saying, yes, absolutely use Logic, because that is really going to only do what you need to do. Let's do a little intro here. Let's move this on up a bar. I'm going to take a bar off at the beginning. Okay, I cheated a little bit with that little last B on the timpani. I have a really good video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be on the Hello Composers channel. And by the way, if you are watching and you are subscribed to both Make Music Income and Hello Composers, I would love if you would watch this and or make sure you are subscribed to the Hello Composers site. This is eventually where I will be doing all of this kind of stuff on Wednesdays. Right now I do it because I want Make Music Income people to see this as well, but eventually I will do only this kind of composing stuff over on that channel, just because that's what that channel is for. It's for me to talk about composing like I'm doing now and show composing off. So let's move on here. In Logic, I've got that little intro, and I'm starting to hear in my head some, and by the way, back on the timpani where I just played, I was talking about a video that's coming out tomorrow with Dave Croft and I, and we talk about orchestration. We go through the entire orchestra in an hour. It's a fly through, it's a flyby. We just kind of touch on every instrument family, and we kind of talk about how we work as DAW composers and as beat makers with orchestral sounds. And so that you don't want to miss that. That's going to be on the Hello Composers channel tomorrow. I will make sure everybody knows in the Make Music Income sphere about that video as well. But it's only going to be on the Hello Composers channel. We had a lot of good fun making it, and we talk about our favorite instruments, and we talk about our favorite articulations and all that kind of stuff inside basic orchestration. So really kind of a fun video, and you're going to want to see that, yes, Arco, you are a little bit the inspiration for this video, and I thought it would be interesting and helpful. I've been thinking about all kinds of music theory things for DAW composers and beat makers, because I teach that at school now, and I know that their eyes are just completely wide open when they are seeing music theory things, and they are seeing orchestration things, and they are seeing composition things. So that's kind of part of the reason why I'm doing this. And yeah, it'll be out tomorrow. It's edited. I just have to give it one more look through, and I'll be putting it out. And you'll see me and Dave tomorrow on the Hello Composers channel talking about basic orchestration, specifically for DAW composers and beat makers. All right, not that either of us are orchestration experts, but we know what we do and we know what it sounds like. Okay, so back to Logic here. So what I'm doing is building a version of Deck the Halls, which is except I'm making a scary Tim Burton Halloween version. So this is going to start like this. And I'll probably put some orchestral rolls and stuff in when I start to, like I do. I sketch first, then I'm going to go out, and my sketches are usually pretty full, but I will sketch first with an instrument of each one, and then I will come back in and add other things. Like with this organ, there might be clarinets or something that come in, and eventually horns. And there's probably going to be a beat. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and put a beat in now. For beats, I just automatically and first go to Stylus RMX, which is a beat place that I have. I could probably go to Complete, but I kind of like using Stylus because nobody uses Stylus anymore, and I want to be where no one is. I don't want to be where the people are. I just want to be in my own little place. Okay, so usually when I'm in Stylus, it gives me a lot of things in certain tempos, and I usually just go to my tempo and try to find something that might work. And again, what I'm going to do with this is a little different. I'm not just going to use a loop. I need something that's somewhat, no. Need something that's a little, let's go to the classic here. I'm looking for something that will move. And you're asking me, why are you just like stopping the timpani part and the organ part? Well, I've done an A section. I'll play it all the way through for you while I'm looking. I like that. That a lot. Can I play that? So see what I've done here? I have found a loop that's cool. And almost any loop that you find, especially with Stylus MRX, it lays it out across the keyboard chromatically. And so you can then replay it. And so what I would recommend that you do when you are really working with loops these days, because folks, we are getting more and more to AI world all the time. And so we've got to stay away from pre-built stuff. And now, while it would be easy, all I got to do with this is drag this up here, and boom, I have a loop. But I'm not going to do that. I am instead going to play myself to my song. In other words, I'm not just putting any loop that I can find, which I can find a great loop here and it would sound cool. And I've done this for years, but over the past few years, I've started to just play the pieces of the loop myself that fit my song instead of just using the loop. If you're using something like FL Studio or something like that, they're coming out with more stuff. And it's not that Logic doesn't have a bunch of loops. All I got to do in Logic is hit O, and it brings up literally, look at this down here where my arrow is, 30,000 loops in Logic that I can use. And believe me, when I teach students Logic, they love that because they can start making music right away. All well, all good, but I am not a student. I am a teacher. Let's see if I can just make something with this little intro here. Gonna leave a bar open. I'm in the wrong place. At the from the top. Something like that. Let's start again. Oops. Had it and I lost it, but that's okay. I probably don't need that much. That's where I about lost it right there. I'll go ahead and play through this whole section. I'll go ahead and play through this whole section better than that. Cool. So let's take that and let's join that together. And now, and then let's quantize that, of course. Let's see how that sounds. Might quantize it kind of. Okay, let's start that again. Swing a little bit. See if it's got a little hi-hat in it. Yeah, add a little bit of that to that. Nope. I need a hi-hat from someplace else. I'll worry about that later. My goal when I'm building stuff is to build it modularly and just, I have an idea for a groove now, right? Timpani and the jam here. Probably some woodwinds here. Back to the groove. Let's just kind of copy and paste this 4 bars intro again. I'm going to do this in lieu of doing more stuff here. I want the groove to continue right there for now. And now I think the organ will become more of a, the organ will become a little bit more of an accompaniment instrument now instead of playing the melody. And I'm going to just imagine a new thing. Or what I could do that might be actually a little easier is go ahead, I'm going to need an audio track, go ahead and bring in some horns. Because I think the next place I want to go is horn, French horn. And let's see what I got here. A little staccato section. Too much. Usually they're just our... And that's where a big B section would start somehow. So let's just go ahead and put this French horn stuff in. I think it's going to be horns and woodwinds, I think, in my head. And then it'll probably break down at that point. And we're already at a minute. which I think is good. If there's any other questions, let me know. Might sound cool as some pan flute. Pan flute. Did I even play that? Didn't I just play that? Maybe I didn't record it. Here's something else. I don't know about you all, but everything I orchestrate in my, I said this earlier, I orchestrate probably as much in my head as I do in my, just by finding sounds. It used to be back in the day when I first started playing keys, I would just go from sound to sound trying to find a sound to that worked. And I didn't think it through like the masters would have. I mean, Mozart didn't have like a symphony in front of him and say, "Do me a favor, play this little line." No, he didn't. He certainly didn't have keyboards to say, "Play this little thing." He had to imagine it in his head and write it down and hope it worked. And so I think I've started to kind of work that way now, where I think about things in my head a little bit instead of before I do that. And like when I was just listening to that, I was hearing. Shane had an idea about flutes. Let me try a little flute here. Little flute section. The problem with flute is, and Dave and I talk about this in our orchestration thing tomorrow, is that we tend to play flutes too low than they would actually be played. Because when you get down here with a flute, that all sounds cool on a keyboard, but in an orchestra, you'd never hear that because they don't make much sound when they play that low. And so that would be, I want some kind of bum bum bum. And you know what? Really, where I should be going to strings for the second part here. I mean, to some extent, this type of music that I'm making is absolutely dramedy in some ways, but I'm inventing this whole genre that mixes Halloween and Christmas, even though I didn't invent it. Tim Burton probably invented it with The Nightmare Before Christmas. But I think it's fun to take songs that you've heard another way and do them in completely different ways. And I've had some success with it. On my non-exclusive libraries, a lot of it brings in pennies and dimes and nickels and dollars and tens of dollars and 20s of dollars. And as a matter of fact, Jingle Scales, which is my Jingle Bells Hallowmas song, has probably brought in the most money through Content ID. It was on a big video that's had 1 million views or more. And they didn't monetize it. At least they didn't at first. I still think I'm getting Content ID money from it. And, but boy, I got a lot last year, hundreds and hundreds of dollars from that one song being on that video. And it was, the whole video was this, very minor version of Jingle Bells. And it's very fun and goofy. And again, it's all done with like xylophone and I can't remember everything that's in it. But anyway, look at Stevie B's special yesterday because he featured it on there. So I think before I do the French horns, I'm going to do some strings. And in Logic, I like to just use a straight new track. Let's just use a new track of the studio strings. No, not that. The actual studio strings instrument, because you can do a lot more in Logic with it. You can actually pick which ones you want to do. And I'm going to go to my favorite, violas, and I'm going to just pick something like some pizzicato. Let's go ahead and add some verb in here. Do you not like my choices? What's everybody saying here? Shane says, I think flute could come an octave higher and add energy later stage, most likely. I see woodwinds with the horns really dominating this tune, and eventually maybe even more brass. Because since it's called Wreck the Halls, I want to get very big with it at some point. Staccato or pulse. Yeah, we're thinking along the same lines here. So I'm going to go with this. I'm loving the violas lately. I can't help it. They just have bite without getting into cello territory, and they're just, I don't know. They're so useful. I think the reason they're useful is because violas probably play in that alto singing range, which really works in this key since I'm in C minor, and I need that C and that E flat, and so if I'm going to bring this on this, so. Have to kind of think in your head that there's other stuff happening. So if I'm thinking of the horn, da, da, dun, dun, dun. Again, maybe I should play the horn first, the horn solo. See, this is what you get when you watch a live stream. You just get rambling. You wanted this. I told you it'd be boring. I still think this is too fast. I'm going to come down a little bit more. Heard me breathing a little bit in there. Dave talked about, and I talk about this too, for newer composers, DAW composers, beat makers. You have to remember when you're playing brass or woodwind instruments that they have to breathe. So try to blow out while you're playing the instrument. And make sure that you would have time to put your embouchure up to hit the next note. And I would. You have to think realistically to make realistic parts. And with flute and with horns, as a trombone player, I remember you're not only just blowing, you're also buzzing your lips. You're like that, and you're playing, and it can get quite exhausting. So Shane says, who doesn't love a good viola line? And I must agree with you there, Shane. Who doesn't love a good viola line? Let me put this up where people can see these things and make them a little smaller. Why is everything so big in this new version? So yeah, I am in C minor, actually, so E flat. But I started with the organ, and I just stayed there, not knowing. And so I think that's okay for horns, and violas and clarinets and flutes will come in to join this, and then probably brass. Really wreck the halls as we go down through here. So, hey, thanks for everybody being here. If you have any questions, write them in the chat. I will look up from time to time And also, I'm going to have to take a break here in just a minute, and I'll show you another piece when I do that. Um, I butchered that French horn part, so I'm going to play it one more time. Now, I will fix up that horn section. That it's not the greatest French horn sample in the world, but when I mix that with Musio and mix that with other horn samples I have and stuff, it'll sound really good. It's going to be a section of horns, which in the orchestra, if we're thinking the orchestra, is probably 3 to 5 horns, I would guess. I don't know how many a standard orchestra has. Shane, maybe you can tell me that. But again, not worried about that right now. I'm sketching. I am building. I am trying to put together a framework here. If I could get through the whole framework of this today with sketches from Logic Sounds, I would call that a win. I've talked about this before, and I'll talk about this just about on every. I got a special video about this coming up. But my assembly line method is I'll go until I'm bored, basically. When I get to a place where maybe at this point I'm headed towards a B section, I've got to do something different now. I've played the melody through twice. I've had the beat and the timpani and stuff going on. I'll have more things happening, but eventually I get a little bored. Not now, but at some point I will get bored. I'm going to try to come up with a B section here, and then by the time I get done with that B section, I should be at about 133, and then I'm on the home stretch of putting together the last part of this, which is the big, huge Wreck the Halls version of the last A. Shane says, I say about 2 to 5 is standard. Yeah. When you have an orchestra, you have lots of strings, and that's the only lotsa. Everything else is not lotsa. The flutes, you might have a certain amount of them, 5, 6, clarinets, and then it gets less for every other section, I think. There's only 2 bassoons usually, only 2 English horn / oboe players, 2 trombones, maybe 3 trombones, maybe a tuba or 2, and 4 trumpets. I don't know, depending on how many they have. So, but the strings can have dozens in first string, second strings, and violas and cellos, and I don't know if cellos have dozens, but a lot of these instruments you can't go too big, like with 4,000 horns. Shane says sometimes as high as 8 horns, which Wagner would love. Yes, Wagner would love that. And you know what? This could get big like that with a big, huge honking horn session. Not honking. See what I did there? All right, I am going to save this for just a sec, and I'm going to close it and let you listen to something else I'm working on while I go take a quick bathroom break. This is something called Through the Wood Darkly. This is another piece from this same thing, and I think I have this kind of. At the end, I will warn you, it gets completely out of hand because I have not finished up all these things. But you can see what I've done here. I have literally put in I've put my sketches, and then I've filled them in with Musio instruments to see if I'd use anything else. I might have used something else in a place where I add some Spitfire or something. But I've got bassoons, flutes, clarinets, English horn, basses, violas, and violins. And pay no attention to the way some of these are named. That's just the name of I don't know why these regions are named that way. But this is a version I'm releasing at Thanksgiving, because this is a Thanksgiving song, believe it or not. It is a version of Over the River and Through the Woods. This is not complete, but it's getting there. And it's just that last A section. I went through and played some stuff, and then I stopped one day. So I still have to go through and complete the A section. But listen to this whilst I go take a short break. I'll be right back. So that is that song. No kind of mix, not any kind of mix yet. It's just um, but it's getting there pretty much. And yes, Shane asked if he says he thinks Museo is a great purchase, and folks, if you want Cinesamples at $49 and you're an educator, it's a no-brainer. I think you said that to me originally, Shane. Yes, I am very happy with it. I'm going to be doing a video on it on how I use it, and I really haven't used it as a sketch tool. It might be good for that. I only have one problem with it, and the with Museo, and that is that it has too much room on some of the instruments, and you can't get what I would like, which is more dry sound, so that I can add my own room and my own verb and stuff like that. I wish there was more dry sound, and I've told them about this already. So hopefully they will maybe give us some more dry options, or I should say close mic'd options with some of it, because that is the only thing I sometimes don't like about it. And then it becomes a BBC SO thing. You know, all the BBC SO Discovery stuff, which I only have the Discovery, the free version. But the problem with that one is it's entirely just one mic tree somewhere that they give you. That's why it's free, because they don't give you a lot of mic positions. And so it's not that I'm super into mic positions, but I am into the ability to be able to add my own reverb and get the reverb sound I want. And so that's why that's the only problem I have with Museo. Some of the sounds, they do have a nice kind of close sound and just a small room sound, and I can deal with that. But some of them are just too big in the room. Shane says, New World collection coming out soon. Ooh, neat. Cool. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love... Christian Henson had a very interesting video last night. If you didn't see it, you should go watch it. I thought it was interesting. I talked to Stevie, and he didn't think it was all that interesting. But I thought it was super interesting because he talked about a different kind of subscription plan that I thought was very interesting. And let me see if I can find that real quick. Crow Hill is his new site. And he talks in this video about, and if you go, you can, let me just share that with you real quick. If I share Google Chrome, this Attic Grand here, it's a beautiful sounding piano, by the way, and I'm going to download it. But he talks about a new way to do, I hope you're saying that, yeah. He talks about a new way to do subscriptions, right? Rather than if you don't pay, you don't get the sounds anymore. That rather than that, you have to keep paying if you want new sounds, and the old sounds will disappear. So they won't keep all the sounds in the vault. He's calling it the vaults. And in the vaults, things will be free, and then there will be ones that are not free that you pay for, that's fairly cheap. And then there will be ones that are more bigger deals, but and when you get them, when you download them, you own them forever, no matter which ones that you pay, that in bigger vaults or whatever, you get them forever. You don't have to, they don't quit working when you quit paying. The problem is you just don't get access to the newer stuff. Newer stuff is going to come out all the time. I think that is a genius way to do music subscriptions, rather than if you quit paying, you just lose access to all the sounds, versus if you it kind of crosses the line and the barrier between subscription and buying. So you get to buy the sound and use it at the same time. I think that's just genius, if you ask me personally. So anyway, all that to say, let's get back to work here. Can't just sit around talking about software all day. We've got things to do here, folks. So back to Logic Pro, back to this. Let me close this now. Is it contact? I think it's its own interface. If you go look at it, it's a very interesting interface that's going to change with the instrument, similar to Spitfire's interface. And boy, I think Spitfire, just as an aside, is really missing Christian Henson right now. Just an aside. All right, moving on here, back to logic. Now I've got my horn section, and that will do. Let me just give it a little bit of, oh, it's got a little bit of that. I really didn't want that to be. Well, I'm not going to really worry about the sound right now. So let's see if this works. It's lost its articulation. That might be all strings and not just violas, actually. That kind of uses the same. Gonna have to come to agreement as Christians about this quantizing. Am I going to use swing? Am I not going to use swing? Don't just know yet. Sorry, that's a little phrase that one of my engineers used to say. Can we all come to an agreement as Christians about where one is? Sorry. It's just a phrase. Don't get offended. Okay, I got to turn down the timpani for Arco. Arco does come up with a good point here, though. You should always kind of mix as you go. You should always kind of mix things in, as you go. When things become too loud compared to the other things, mix as you go. Make sure that we don't need, by the time we get done, I heard someone else saying this, and I can't remember who it was, if it was Venus Theory or somebody, I think it was somebody else, but maybe it was Guy or somebody, like, when you get, oh no, I was watching a video about a very famous engineer, and he was saying, when I'm tracking, I'm mixing. When I'm tracking, I am cutting everything the way where it needs to be, and I'm setting its volume when it's there. So when I get to the mixing process, it's not about, oh, now I got to start the whole mixing process and I got to mix. And so that's a very good comment, Arco, actually. So Arco, how's it going in Oxford? I hope you're having fun over there. Arco, who's in the chat here, is currently going to school in Oxford, UK. And if you don't know about Arco, he is from India. And so he's not from Oxford. So a man out of country, a man abroad, you might say, studying, which I'm so happy and proud that you're doing that. Hey, thanks for everybody who is hanging out. Appreciate it. And good to see. If you want to ask a question while I'm doing this, don't know how long I'll go here, probably another half hour or so, because do I have anybody today? I don't know if I have a 12 or something. I don't think so. I think some days I will mark out my own time from 8 to 2 or 3 when I have to leave, so I make sure I don't leave any room for anybody to schedule a one-on-one consult or something, so I'll actually get work done. All right, so let's finish up here this part. So I'll probably put some violins with this as well, and probably some cellos as well with this whole pizzicato thing that's going on. So sketch-wise, I kind of have everything kind of going on that I want. Yeah, this is all too loud. And I could probably hear that French horn section being replayed as a section, a section much stronger. I want this whole section to start growing in intensity. And so by the time we get to here, and timpani probably will continue to carry this part. It's too early to do a key change or anything to this. I don't think I'm ready to move to the final section of this. I'm only a minute in, and I need to go somewhere else. Ooh, I know something I could do. Almost have a little Bartok pits. See how utilitarian the violas are? They're so helpful for coming up as just these little, almost like piano parts, kind of. Arco asked me originally about orchestration, how he takes a piano part and puts it into orchestra. Or was it backwards? I think it was taking a piano piece and transcribing it for orchestra. And I told him, take different pieces of it and put it on different instruments. And in your mid-range here, middle C here, I can use these kind of come up with this B section here. I just heard it. I blew it. But that's going to be it. Bum, bum. Kind of going up to the F minor. That should be enough. Breakdown. That's going to be kind of cool. And this definitely could be where strings or flutes take over. I guess I keep the loop going. So probably some strings here. Shoot, I said violins. I meant violas. Oh, come on. By the way, one of the things that I teach my students from the beginning of learning Pro Tools, learning computer work, learning DAW composing, is to use proper capitalization. This may sound like the most boring thing in the world, but you have to capitalize things correctly. And as you see here, I am not using all caps, but I am using what I call init caps. There's another name for it, something case. But the first letter is always capitalized. The first the initial letter of every word is capitalized. I'm big about this because if I don't say this, everyone's going to write everything in all small letters, or I would almost rather have it in all caps rather than all small letters. So for me, it's a big deal to have everything written down nicely there. And so you can see how I've got all of these written in initial capping. So I think it's a big deal. Hey, Andreas, thanks for being here. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Better late than never indeed. So thanks for joining. We're in the middle of working on something called Wreck the Halls. And I just kind of came up with a B section. Let's see where we are with this thing from the top for those of you who just have come in. Just sketching right now. Not sold on this organ yet. The second A section right here, which will be horns. And B section. Something's going to happen right there on that A section where it's going to break way down. The loop's going to go away. The timpani's going to go away. And I can almost hear like a little flute and clarinet trio or horn and flute and clarinet trio, maybe. Let's bring the flutes in. It's time. We've waited all this time. We've shunned them. Because you know the flutes, they're uppity. They're just... I'm a flute. Look at me with my head up in the air. But it's time. We have to bring in the flutes. I'm sorry. Oh, that's a terrible sounding flute. Oh, it's because it's a mellotron. No wonder. I was going to say that is a terrible sounding flute. And this is another great time to bring in my other favorite instrument besides violas right now. And some of you know what that is. And it's the lowly clarinets. Almost needs to be staccato. Not that staccato. What I usually do when I'm working on clarinets is I will bring in some clarinet sound on Logic or whatever sounds close enough. That'll do the trick. And then I will do clarinet auditions. I will hold clarinet auditions for everyone. I will say, okay, clarinets, step right up. please decide who wants to. Let me hear who's got the best clarinet sound, and then I will blend with Musio, or I will find clarinets from a variety of sources that I have. I have an old collection of samples that still works very good for me, named Sonovox. They have the actual interface is a little janky because it's old, and but it sounds are pretty good. And so a lot of times that, believe it or not, Garriton sometimes makes an appearance. And who else is a clarinet that I choose? Oh, I do have a clarinet from 8DO that I bought. So in somewhere along all those different clarinets, someone will stand up, and or a section will work. So I think I'm going to do a little clarinet thing here. Maybe even like a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little Bachian. Oh, come on. What's the word I'm looking for? Shane, help me. A little counterpoint happening there, where the flutes and the clarinets and maybe even the horns or a bassoon, and they all kind of start this little thing, and then the organ could come back in. I agree with you, Shane. Shane says that more a haunted mansion thick organ. No, no doubt. That's the first sound that I just turned on today to test my sound, and I kind of liked it at the time. But yeah, I like that idea of the haunted mansion organ since we're in Hallowmas. But yeah, theremin would be cool. Maybe. I feel like I've done that in some other of these Hallowmas tunes, but I've actually literally used that in another tune that has a similar outro, so I may not use that. So again, clarinets, like the violas, a very helpful and I guess you would say utilitarian sound that plays in the alto vocal range. And since I am playing in C minor and everything is right in that middle C minor area, the clarinets just fit right there. And so I haven't even got to percussion yet. Like I might be able to hear some vibes or something in this too. So again, but what I like to do is make sure I have kind of sketched out the tune all the way through. And if I can do that, then it's just a matter of the assembly line another day, bringing it up and adding to it and changing it. And then I'm like 90%, 95% done with it. And then it's just a matter of mixing. And then when I'm mixing, I sometimes even add more different instruments to fill out the orchestra and see what's happening there. So cool. All right, let's go on with this. Yeah, cool. All right. And this is where we want to go to the clarinets. I'm going to let the clarinets play straight here. Says, I don't know what the ending's going to be, but we're nearing the ending. I can feel I'm almost there. Shane says, with the counterpoint, you could call it a Wreck the Halls, a whimsical fugue. Ooh. Yes, and then, the flute, that will be kind of the straight part, but the flute will be playing a higher part. That's counterpointy to that. And then the bassoon could be playing a counter. So let me do a little bit of that. I need something that's going to... Yeah, let me just say this. Don't be afraid to bring out your jazz improvisation when you are coming up with parts. Don't be afraid to just improv. Like I just improved a different rhythm than I was using on the A and B sections just because I was bored of it and I didn't want it to be the same. And so I literally improved. I literally just messed around and I got lucky that it worked just right and I almost didn't even mess it up except towards the end. So don't be afraid to like improv your what you're doing there. Don't be afraid to improv because sometimes you are playing the same melody that you were playing earlier, but you know you're at the same time you're like, okay, how can I do something different here because I've done the same thing a million times. And so I think it's better to kind of try to do something a little different as you're at the end, especially in your last A section. It should be different. It should be changed up. It should be rearranged. So that's what I'm trying to do. All right, cool. Let's see what's going on here. I almost started to go da 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 there, but I decided to leave that to another instrument. So except I'm on flute now. So I'm going to build it like that, the outro like that. Outro. 1, 2, oops. Outro. That'll be it. Dun, dun, dun. And the flutes will be like... something like that. Now, while I could sit here and try to do counterpoint with everybody watching, I would probably prefer to... That's going to take... Counterpoint is one of those things that just takes a lot of thinking in your head and trying stuff and working it out and understanding what the other one is doing. And if I have two other counterpart points to that, that's going to take me a while. I probably will prefer to do that offline. Let's talk about, though, and now here's the beauty, though. I have it finished. I mean, I have it like lined up. I know what is going to happen now. I feel pretty good about that. I know that I've got enough going on. I've got the tune done. It's 2 minutes. We're done. I don't need to go much farther. Andreas, you are welcome. Thanks for coming. Hope you didn't see my insides. That would have been gross. Thanks for watching this. So yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about where this is going, and I feel that I've got a good start on this now. And so nothing. It's not going to all cut off at this C section. It's just going to cut off, and what might happen is hi-hats. And then eventually this is going to come back in. This will probably come back in right here. The drums will probably come back in right at 42 if I can get them to line up. Come on, drums. Stop it. Am I lining up right? Yep. timpani. This again, this is just for structure. Forgot what I did. We'll be done. Is that making sense? Don't need a double note on those clarinets. Somebody else will play that. Might even find maybe several flutes or several clarinets. Who knows? But that's... So that's where we are. We've got an A section and a double A section, and then a little B section, and then a little breakdown into a little fugue, as Shane says. Yeah, and now I just need to add the dressing. I just need to go in and start filling in and adding more thickness to different instruments with different sounds. And yeah, having the structure in place is, I've got another song done. Thanks to you guys. We just made a song here in an hour and a half or whatever. And to me, that is very helpful. That is, sometimes you just got to sit down and do things. And so maybe these lives will help me get more stuff done. Maybe I should go live every day, because this is the morning time, and we're about to hit noon here Eastern, and this is about when I decide to stop doing music and move over. And I'll take this keyboard and I'll move it over there, and I'll belly up to the computer and start doing video things and client things and all that kind of stuff before I have to go to school. If you are interested in being part of our new community, we're testing it out right now. Thank you, Andreas, for that. We're testing out our new community right now, and you can just email me at hellocomposers or makemusicincome@gmail.com. Arco says now you just need to arrange it. I think I've arranged it in as far as what things are going to be happening in it. But if you're talking about orchestrate it, that's probably what you mean. I need to orchestrate it. I need to add more things to it and finish out the arrangement. The arrangement's kind of started and the structure is there. So I'm pretty happy with that. There's a lot more thing I can do. The hi-hat, I need to do a hi-hat pass and maybe a whole nother drum pass alongside that. I like to not just have a loop going through the whole time, but have drums that interweave with the loop that are specifically made for that particular, I don't know. Well, Shane, some people are watching this on Hello Composers and some people are watching this on Make Music Income, just so you know. So Shane, you can't see Andrea's comments. So it's, like I said, eventually we will do this only on Hello Composers. It's just that right now I'm just doing it to both, so everybody can kind of get used to the idea. And once they like it, and if you want to be part of it, then I'll just announce it that it's live over at Hello Composers, and so people can go and see it. So Yes, bases are needed, Arco. I need to put some bass in it for sure. And so I will need to, again, I think all strings will be in this, basses, cellos, along with the violas that I have. And they'll be in there. And so you can imagine the basses doing some maybe stuff alongside the timpani. And I'll probably bring more organ in, especially towards the end. And I also want to bring more bombastic stuff happening in this last part. It's called Wreck the Halls, by the way. It's supposed to be a little bit more bombastic than this. So, yeah, we'll be adding more to that, more horn section, maybe some other brass, maybe some trombones will come in as well towards the end. So a lot of arranging and orchestrating left to do in this. All right, folks. Well, that is where we are with Wreck the Halls today. I hope this has been fun for you. I think I'm going to go do other things now. And in this live, it's been fun. And thanks. I'm glad I was able to get the stereo going. I'm not really sure what I did. I was fooling with settings and doing tests all morning. Finally got it working. So glad we could do that. Thanks for joining me. It's been about an hour and a half. Thanks for hanging. You guys have a great day, and we will see you next time here on Live Composing. So see you later. Bye-bye. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.